What's up, dudes? My name is Nick. Welcome back for another one of my Sunday discussion videos. These videos are supposed to be a moment where we can kind of step back from reviewing and sharing our opinions on music and talking about something relating to Korean music, but that's not about the music itself. So for this video, we're going to be talking about the idea or the question, which is, what is the target audience for the people who are reading articles written on Western media sites? So that's like stuff that's been written by Jeff Benjamin for Billboard, Rolling Stone, whatever the hell it is that he's written stuff for. Like, who are the people that they are writing those articles for in mind? You know, are they writing them with K-pop fans in mind, or are they writing them with people who are not fans of K-pop in mind? That's kind of the question. That's kind of what I kind of want to discuss for this video, and you know, we're going to do that. So before we get started, though, I just want to let you guys know that if you are interested in, if you have a specific topic or something like that you want to potentially ask me about, and you want to hear my thoughts and opinions, you just want to discuss in general in a video coming up in the next couple of weeks or something like that, put it down in the comments, and I will take that into consideration for an upcoming video. So let's get right into it. And so this whole question and this whole idea kind of came about from when I covered the news story on the fact that BTS moved up to number 67 on the Billboard, Top 100 chart, or Hot 100, whatever it's called, Hot 100 chart. And you know, it was really, really interesting to me to read the article that was written by, it wasn't Jeff Benjamin, it wasn't the Army's favorite journalist or blogger or whatever you want to call him in Western media. It was some other guy. I don't know. I don't remember his name. It honestly wasn't necessarily something that I thought was particularly pertinent, but you know, they wrote an article, they posted an article on the Billboard website that listed BTS, or portrayed their achievement as, you know, which made them the highest charting K-pop group on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. But of course, that is obviously ignoring the fact that Psy consistently has outcharted them so far with not only Gangnam Style, but also other songs. I believe other songs have also charted higher than that as well. So it's an interesting sort of, you know, it's not wrong, and it's not in any way, you know, a way to say like, you know, bad, that this is bad writing or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, because it's good, because it was written in a way with a certain group of people in mind. And I don't think that it was written for K-pop fans. It obviously was not, because if it was written for K-pop fans, then they maybe would have included Psy to say like, you know, BTS is just like absolutely killing it. This is like a fantastic, amazing achievement, and it's really, really awesome. And they got their eyes set on Psy next, because they've already knocked off Wonder Girls as the highest charting group in on that specific chart. And Psy is the next group, or the next, you know, K-pop act that BTS is targeting. They could have said that, and it would have been a, you know, for K-pop fans, it would have been something significant. Of course, K-pop fans have the context of who the Wonder Girls are, who Psy is, who CL is, whoever else who's made appearances on that chart is. They know that context. But for people who only heard of BTS when they won their Billboard Music Award social media thing, then they don't even know who Wonder Girls are, because that was what, 6, 7, 8 years ago now. In 2009, I believe, that specific song is when they reached that position on the chart. So they can't say like, honestly, the specific group in the song is irrelevant to most people other than K-pop fans, because it doesn't make a difference. But what it does, of course, is kind of put that point, like, this was the bar that BTS was kind of aiming at. This was where it was set, and they just went one above it. And, you know, they're doing really, really well in that regard. So what it kind of does, or the way that I see that, and the way that I've interpreted the way that this was written, and the omission of facts that may or may not have been relevant, but it kind of does depend on what the target audience is for that article. And with my opinion and my idea that the author of that article was targeting non-K-pop fans, is that they left out the fact that Psy has secured, reached number 2 with Gangnam Style way back in the day. They left that out because it would have, to a certain extent, to a lot of people, probably diminished the achievement that BTS had secured. Whereas K-pop fans would see this, despite the fact that, you know, Psy is, you know, has done what he did, but looking at BTS in comparison to Wonder Girls, because we have that context. But international or, you know, non-K-pop fans just don't have that context or the history of who the Wonder Girls are or who anybody else is. And so they say, like, yeah, they finished, they're in at 67, they beat, you know, they charted higher than the Wonder Girls, but Psy right here doing better, charting with every single song that he's released, or pretty much every single song that he's released since Gangnam Style, you know. And maybe in a sense, you know, that would make the achievement seem less impactful to non-K-pop fans. So there's that one aspect of it. That's the one instance that kind of, you know, motivated all of this. And, you know, ultimately, I think that, as I just kind of highlighted right there, I think that most of these articles are actually written for people who are not K-pop fans. Jeff Benjamin specifically, I think, has this, you know, idea in his head that it's his job, and the reason that he writes articles is to promote K-pop, to grow the footprint and the audience and the market of K-pop in the United States. He's not, I don't think he goes into it necessarily with the idea of, you know, covering K-pop for K-pop fans to provide good, insightful content. It's a way to kind of just promote and just push and say, like, look how awesome BTS is, or look at this achievement that Psy has got, or this is, you know, what EXO's doing, and this is why they're great. And, you know, you kind of get the sense that, at least from me, especially with the whole articles and the whole debacle that kind of came out with the way that his article for Rolling Stone and some of the other stuff that he published around the time that BTS actually won their Billboard Music Award, in the sense that he really kind of downplayed how important Psy is to, or at least the way that the article initially was published, because he came out and was like, this is not what I intended, you know, the editor did the stuff and the things to it, and my bad, we're going to change it. So, you know, he really kind of downplayed the, you know, who Psy is as an artist in K-pop by basically just relegating him to being a, you know, the Korean funny man that he comes across as in his music videos and his songs that everyone's familiar with. Of course, that's because that's how everyone else kind of views him, you know, in the United States, because they only know him for Gangnam Style. They don't know the, you know, the social commentary that the song is based on. They don't know his history in music and how a lot of that stuff is very much about social issues in Korea, or the fact that a lot of his music videos are playing on, you know, things that are relevant in pop culture within Korea itself. You know, so they don't know how, you know, culturally relevant, I suppose you can say, that Psy is with a lot of his music. So, you know, your average fan, you know, person in the United States who likes Gangnam Style because it was a trending song doesn't know anything about that. They don't care about that. All they see him is as the, you know, slightly chubby, funny guy who made that Gangnam Style music video, right? That's all they know him as. But then it kind of goes a little bit beyond that, because, you know, as much as he hypes up how awesome and different BTS is, because they're not your typical K-pop group who writes songs that are about, you know, love and, you know, heartbreak and all this other sort of stuff. You know, they're not all love songs. They're actually like deep sort of stuff. Doesn't necessarily go into a excessive amount of detail, or, you know, a lot of detail to kind of say, like, if you really like stuff that is like deep, has deeper meanings, and is really thought and emotional and deep, then, you know, maybe this is the kind of stuff that BTS, you know, touches on. I don't see a lot of articles in Western media that go deep into K-pop. Granted, I don't read a lot of that stuff. It's, you know, because that's not exactly kind of like my focus most of the time. So, you know, a random article that he might write, or anyone will write, about a K-pop group that's touring in the United States, or an interview, is not necessarily something that I'm going to be running over to check out to see what it is that they write. But I don't see that there's a lot of stuff that is that they frequently go deep into into a K-pop group, to like I kind of said. And the thing that I think is a little bit lacking with some of the BTS coverage from Billboard and whoever else is writing stuff, that, you know, they say BTS isn't your typical K-pop group. They don't do these things, but at the same time, you don't go and actually kind of explain and highlight that in any sort of extensive detail, which, you know, maybe that's me as a K-pop fan, or you as a K-pop fan, maybe that's what you would want to see. But then at the same time, if I'm not a K-pop fan and I'm reading that and you're going into details about how their most recent album is relevant and what it means, and, you know, some of the really emotional, impactful, you know, messages and meanings behind some of these songs in the music videos, like, do you necessarily care about that? You know, it's kind of a thing that you have to kind of consider, that, you know, on one hand, you're going to write stuff that's going to be super, super basic and is not going to do BTS or like literally any other K-pop group. You're not going to give them the coverage and the, you know, information and the depth of coverage that they deserve, right? Because there was a lot of the stuff that, you know, K-pop groups release. And so, but because, you know, as a K-pop fan, that's what I would want. I would want like a deep, good coverage. But as someone who's not a K-pop fan, you know, maybe I probably don't care about going super deep into, you know, the specific things that make BTS great. You know, I don't care about that. I just want to know, like, BTS is awesome. They're trending. They're the hot thing right now, and they're different than other K-pop groups. So that's the reason why I should check them out. Right? I don't really need to go into all the, you know, all of the awesome good details about why they're different. I just need to know that they're different and that I should pay attention to them. So it's kind of a thing where, like, I think that ultimately the majority of non-K-pop fans don't care about all of the gory details about the things that make each individual K-pop group awesome in their own right, whereas K-pop fans actually do. And the articles that Jeff Benjamin and the rest of those people write are not targeted at people such as myself, who are K-pop fans, who care about, you know, hearing all of the nuts and bolts of that kind of stuff. But a lot of those articles are targeted to the people who don't like K-pop, and they're kind of written in an effort to expose those people to K-pop and also to promote it and expand the footprint of the genre of music around the world. And there's nothing bad about that. I mean, you know, it isn't bad, and none of this is actually like a criticism of, like, you guys need to write, you know, more deeper and more thoughtful stuff, because it takes a lot of time to actually do that. And, you know, it's kind of a thing where then, like, you know, you can't necessarily, you know, sit down after you have an interview with a group because it had to stop in New York for their tour and then crank out an article overnight. You can't exactly do that. You know, it's like, it might take you, you know, a week solid of like 100% brainstorming, writing, organizing, researching and stuff like that to get out a good, thoughtful article or a written piece on a group. And, you know, it just takes the time, and, you know, you kind of have to evaluate the cost benefit analysis of what gets the clicks, what gets the group with the site attention, because that's why they write stuff. If people aren't going to, you know, care about anybody who you write on the topic of an article, no one's going to click on it. No one's going to, you know, see it. It's not worth the site's time to, you know, to tie up a writer to write it, and then an editor to edit, and then, you know, people to publish it. You know, it's just not worth their time. So, you know, if they can have a super shallow article about BTS or any other K-pop group that's within the United States borders at whatever time it is, then that is just more worth, you know, Billboard's time. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone obviously really likes the fact that they're getting coverage, that they're dropping their name. You know, I'm just not necessarily, like, don't see that it's super valuable. Maybe though. But then again, maybe it's just the way that this all starts, that, you know, you got to start with the super shallow coverage before you can get into the actual deeper kind of stuff. So that's all I got. If you have any articles specifically, like, I don't know, about BTS, any group actually, that have been published within, say, the last year, that are actually, like, go, you know, dig down beyond the surface layer of what BTS is like, or any other group, then share those with me. I'm actually really kind of interested to see, first off, who is writing those articles. I want to know the authors behind them, so that maybe potentially I could follow them and, you know, read their stuff. And also just want to see what they're saying, because it's interesting to me. I'm not really, you know, the last year I've really failed with following a lot of the news, whether it's coming from, you know, all K-pop, Soompi, you know, K-pop or Korean pop cultures, you know, Korean pop culture specific news outlets that translate stuff out of from English, or whether that's an international, a freelance journalist who writes stuff for Western or American publications online. I don't know. I haven't been doing a great job of following that stuff, so that's my fail. That's my bad, and we're gonna try and do better on that going forward. But those are just some thoughts that I've got, because it's a thing, and of course it's hard. It's probably really hard to kind of find a good middle ground to where you're gonna make people where you're going to kind of please everybody, because obviously the stuff that Jeff Benjamin wrote after BTS won their Billboard Music Award did not make a lot of people happy, because while they were elevating, while he was, or at least the way that it came across is while he was elevating BTS as being very much different, he was downplaying and a lot of what K-pop does. Like, BTS is above everybody else because everybody else in K-pop is super basic and they're not worth your time, is kind of how that came across to a lot of people. Not to mention the fact that he just completely downplayed Psy, who is definitely right up at the top of the most influential K-pop acts in K-pop. Like, you can't argue that. If you can, I would like you to try. Like, in all honesty, I would want to hear your opinion on why you think that Psy is not influential. Just even before Gangnam Style, why he's not influential. Legitimately, we'd like to know that. So those are just some things. Maybe we'll talk about that whole Psy thing coming up in another video over the next couple of weeks. Maybe. Who knows? So that's all I got to say for this. That's all I got to talk about. I'm going to finish this off before it actually hits 20 minutes. So thank you everyone for listening to me talk and hearing what I've got to say on this whole topic. So now it's time for you guys to share what you guys think about the topic, which is a question which you should answer, basically, which is kind of the question that I tried to answer and kind of explain and think out loud about, which is, who are articles that are written or that are published on like Billboard targeted towards? Are they targeted towards K-pop fans? Or are they targeted towards non-K-pop fans? So share whatever you think it is, what you think the answer is, and tell me why down below. It could be one or the other, or a combination of both. Whatever it is that you think. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have got to say. So drop it in the comments. This time I will be in the comments, reading, at least acknowledging that I'm seeing what you guys are putting down there. So do that, and just be friendly about it, right? Because this is what our community is all about. Having some friendly discussion about our thoughts and opinions on whatever the topic is of the video. So if that is a community that you are interested in becoming a part of and participating with, then please do consider clicking on the subscribe button down below. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.